Hi everybody. Today we're going to be looking at working out a gradient of a line. On my board I've got an example of a Cartesian plane with the y-axis and the x-axis. And what I would like us to go through is to find the gradient of the line joining pairs of points. For example, if we had coordinates of 4, 2 and we had 12, 4, just as an example. The important part about this is that the first value is the x and the second value is the y. The first value is the x and the second value is the y. That's very, very important. Very, very important. Now, with that being said, if we go through and have a look at our gradient formula, so we could say that gradient is equal to rise over run, which is equal to the change in y, which is y2 minus y1, divided by the change in x, which is x2 minus x1. So when we're talking about gradient, we're talking about the slope, the level, the direction of the slope, and the size of the slope, or the magnitude as we refer to it. So as a rule of thumb, when we've got a graph that looks like it's going up like so, we call it a positive gradient because it's going up in an upwards direction. And if the slope is in this direction, which is like a negative direction, we call it, where it's going downwards, we call that a negative direction. I think of it, if you imagine if you were going to walk up a hill. You're going to walk up this hill and it's going to be a lot of work. It's going to be a lot of work for you to get up that hill. So we call it a positive gradient. If you're at the top of this hill, for example, and you were wanting to walk down, it's going to be so much easier for you to walk down. So we call that a negative gradient. That's just one way of looking at it. Okay. Now, with that being said, let's have a look at these two pairs of points, or these two coordinates. 4, 2, 12 and 4. So what I'm going to say is I'm going to call, so we've got x1, y1. Let's call this one x2, y2. And let's have a look at what happens here. So if we use our gradient and we use this formula, we can say gradient is equal to, have a look at the y value, y2 value. y2 is 4, is equal to 4 minus y1. y1 is 2, divided by x2. x2, which is 12, minus x1, which is 4, which is equal to 4 take away 2 is 2. 12 take away 4 is 8, which is equal to 1 over 4. Okay, that's our gradient. Now let's just have a look at, if we reverse this. Let's say, for example, I'm going to make this one x2, this one y2. I'm going to change this one to x1, and I'm going to change this one to y1. Now, let's go through this formula. Go through the same formula. So therefore, gradient is equal to, now it's y2 minus y1. We've switched these over. Now we've made this side x2, y2, and this side x1, y1. y2 is 2. Take away y1 is 4. divided by x2 is 4 minus x1 is 12, which is equal to 2 take away 4 is minus 2. 4 take away 12 is minus 8. The negatives cancel. 2 over 8 is equal to positive 1 over 4. So it makes no difference. So if ever you were confused and not too sure which one was x2, y2, which one is x1, y1, makes no difference. They cancel out anyway, so we get the same result. Okay. So this is a positive gradient, which means, as we say, the gradient. Well, let's have a look. We can actually plot this. So we've got 4 and 2. 4. There's 4, and there's 2, roughly there. Okay. Well, this one's 12, so it's going to be further out here. Say it's roughly there. 12 and 4 is roughly there. So it's going to be that line there. So it's going in that direction, which is a positive gradient. Okay. Let's go through another example. We'll go through another example. Let's say I'm going to change these and make them. Let's have a look and make it minus 3 and 2 and minus 1 and 7. So x1, y1, x2, y2. Same formula. So gradient is equal to y2, which is a 7, take away y1, which is 2, divided by x2, which is minus 1, minus x1, which is minus 3. So that's equal to 7 minus 2 is 5. Minus 1 minus 3 is the same as saying minus 1 plus 3, which is equal to 5 minus 1 plus 3 is 2, which is equal to positive 2.5 or 2.5, whichever you want to call it. Again, let's do this. Let's now change this. Let's change it. So we're not changing the xy values. We're simply changing x1 and x2. That's all we're doing. Because x and y is the same. That's x, that's y. But all we're doing is we're changing it over. Okay. So we've got. Let's say we say that's 2x2, y2, x1, y1. Again, let's have a look. Therefore, gradient is equal to y2, which is 2, take away y1, which is 7, divided by x2, which is minus 3, minus x1, which is minus 1. Okay, x1 is minus 1. That's equal to 2 minus 7 is minus 5, divided by minus 3 minus 1 is the same as saying plus 1, which is equal to minus 5 over minus 2. So the negatives cancel, we get the same answer, 5 over 2, which is equal to 2.5. Okay, same result. So again, it's a positive gradient. All right. So that's one way of working out gradient. Now, the other way of working out the gradients, I mean, if you had coordinates, let's just say, for example, let's say we had coordinates of, just using this graph here, if we had coordinates of 2, 3, and say we had 6 and 5, just as an example, we could then say 2 and 3 is that point there. Okay, and 6 and 5 is that point there. So that's our line through there. That's our straight line through there. So we're at this point here. Okay, so it was 6 through there, and we're up to this point there, which the first point is, so that's 6, it should be 5, it should be that line there. I probably haven't drawn it. I'll just change that. So it's 5, which is roughly there. Okay, which is that point there. So it's roughly, okay, that line there. And this point here is 3. So we know that that level is we know that that point is there is 5. We know that this one here is 3. And we know that this one here is a 6. And we know that this one here is a 2. Okay, is a 2. So it's like saying when we, sorry about that. It's like saying when we bring that, when we show that line across there, we've got a 5 take away 3. So that's the same as saying 5 take away 3 is 2. 5 take away 3 is 2, and we've got 6 take away 2 is 4. So the gradient on this one is our rise, which is 2, and our run, which is 4. So rise is 2 and our run is 4. That means our rise over run is equal to 2 over 4, which is also equal to 1 over 2, simplified. Okay, and it's a positive relationship as well. Okay guys, hope that helps you understanding gradient a little bit better. It's an area that's that has a lot of misconceptions with students, but I hope this provides you with a level of confidence and clarity moving forward. Thanks for your views, and see you on the next one. Bye guys.